So today is the day we are painting the van. We're a bit nervous, but we've watched loads of videos on it and we think it's going to be good. What we will do is I've broken it down into 4 simple steps and I'll show each step as we go. What I will do is in each section we will show you the products that we're going to use and we will share the cost and where we got them from and how we are going to use or apply that thing, and we are going to do it for under £200 and we will keep a running total up here. At any point you can see how much we've spent, and also down in the description I will put a list of all of these things as well, so if you want to paint your van it might be helpful.
Little disclaimer though, we will have a few bits and pieces that we've just got around the house in the shed and things like that, which I think most of you guys probably will have anyway. They might not get thrown into that budget.
Step 1 is the prep, and Warren is going to talk us through all of our tools and equipment for the prep.
Day 1 of painting, keeping it simple. We just need to give the van a rub down sand just to make it ready, get rid of the sheen. So we've got our orbital sander and 3 20 grit sanding discs. And also we have got some of these greenies scrubbers. They're abrasive. We've also got like a sanding block just to wrap them round if we need it. So what we're trying to do is basically scuff it up so when we come to paint primer on, it's got something to adhere to, because at the moment it's a bit too glossy. We tried it with the sander to start with, but it seemed a bit too aggressive.
Yeah, sander seemed to do like too good of a job. The greenies just, they didn't, it was like a cloth. So yeah, we're just using these.
320, if you can still see that.
They're doing a good job by hand, maybe a bit too harsh. It's really hard to show. Like, so this is it, it's like a matte effect. Just take off the sheen. The goal isn't really to take off the paint, just take off the sheen. So you can actually see it from this angle, so that just here. Having fun?
Loving it.
What did you say about getting on the roof?
Don't do it. Don't put any dents in.
He said I can't do it because I might be too heavy.
No, I just knew that if you got up here you might not come back down again.
Because I'd just be that.
Too busy sunbathing.
Yeah.
Day 2 of the roof, heading back up there today. Spent quite a bit of time up there yesterday, mainly just giving it a scrub with like a hard bristle brush just to get rid of most of the dirt, and then making a start on sanding. But it was pretty hot yesterday, on the hottest day so far, so did that as long as we could before it got late and making too much noise. So I'm going to be back at it today.
These are gonna have to come off because otherwise, imagine trying to paint around this. It's gonna be hideous. So there's this one, there's this, and then there's just one of these at the front. So we've done a bit of research on how to get them off. But basically what I wanna do is I wanna make sure when we put them back on, they go on in the correct, like with the correct spaces and in the correct place and stuff. My research did not determine this, but I have a trusty Crayola crayon and a white sheet of paper, and I'm gonna do that shading thing, you know, like when you're in school. Give it a go. So I want to, when it comes to putting this back on, I want it all to be, I'm sure there's probably better ways to do this, but hey. Like, I'm not going to win any awards, but like, it's done the job. I can use this as a reference when we come to put them back on. So we've got the trusty hairdryer back out for a bit of heat and some dental floss. Here we are going in. It's the same method that we use for the vinyl decal, basically heating the glue that is behind the letters. I'll pop the video up here if you want to go take a look at that one. And then here I am getting really annoyed because the dental floss that I've bought isn't very good and it keeps snapping. Oh goodness. So basically I did this one. As you can see, it's all off and the camera didn't record, and I was using this floss, which is just a Superdrug's own brand, and I ran out. So I went to buy more floss and I went Oral B, I went fancy, and this, it just keeps snapping. So if you're gonna get floss, just go get Superdrug's own. I know what I'm gonna do now. So Warren has gifted me some strimmer wire. Hopefully this will do it, because we really just want to get them off so we can crack on. The issue with the strimmer wire is that it was too thick to get that initial bit in. So Warren is just prying the edge up just so I can fit the strimmer wire in. Once it was in, it did the job fine, clean, came straight off. So here is the one I did, and literally all I used to get this off was heat. Whereas this is a different adhesive what they've used, and it is a pig. I'm going with the trusty old sticky off. Back to sanding the van. The van has been fully sanded, and as you can see, it's quite like a matte, chalky finish. Looks like rubbish. This is the technical chalky test. There you are, chalky. Step 2, degrease. So we have our heavy duty degreaser, a mixing bowl and some cloths. We are just following the instructions, which is basically it's 1 capful per 1 litre of water. So actually this huge tub is a complete waste really, but I'm just mixing that up. So our bucket holds 2 litres, so 2 capfuls. That all works out fine, and then it's just a case of literally just rubbing it down with the cloth. Don't forget all of those nooks and crannies inside of doors and anywhere that is going to see primer and paint. Here we are back with the technical test, and as you can see, still chalky, so more degreaser is needed. So we actually degreased around 3 times before we stopped getting the chalky finish coming off. I'm in the van, sheltering from the wind, but the preparation is done. The degreasing is done, and like, don't get me wrong, the prep and the degreasing is like a well boring job, but foundations are key. What's that saying I'm thinking of? If you know what I'm trying to think of, put it in the comments. Yeah, basically you need a good foundation to get stuff like this right. So hopefully we have done a good enough job. So now we are moving on to stage 3, which is priming. We have our tin of primer. So the primer and the paint are both from Trades for Paints. It's a website which we have seen other people use. I actually reached out to them directly just after some advice. They were really helpful. They told me, they basically asked me to send pictures of the van, and then they said like, what colour are you looking to paint it, and they basically told me all of the different things that I would need to get a good finish basically. So that is the primer. We also have some paint thinner, which was again recommended by the guy I was talking to at Paints for Trades. So this is just their one as recommended. We then have got some little rolly paint trays, an empty little roller tool there. We're using like a mini roller, paintbrush, and I'm sure we've got another couple of paintbrushes knocking around that we'll use like different widths and stuff. And then from the recommendation again of people on YouTube, we bought these. So that's what we're using. Let's get cracking. Something else I should have mentioned, masking tape. This is actually Frogtape. We've been burned a few times doing like household DIY with just your regular cheap masking tape. So we always have from Frogtape handy. Again, it's another boring job masking up like the any edges where you don't want paint to go on. So yeah,
Boring.
very, very boring.
Right, so the time has come to mix up our paints with our thinners.
This is the primer.
Yeah, this is the primer, military grey I think it is. I've just chopped up this old milk container because we need to thin it down by about 5%. I've just done a couple of marks on here, give us a rough idea.
Whoa.
You have to be like super gentle.
I mean, me and gentle don't really go. Day two of priming the van. First off, before we can do any more painting, we need to go in and basically sand any of like the little bumps and ridges. I've got this 800 sandpaper. I'm going to go in with that. We might need to go, and this might be a bit too fine, but I'm going to give it a go. I'll show you around the van. So this bit here, we went in and we were trying to do maybe like thicker coats, but then what we realized actually is we are better off doing thinner coats, just because. So I mean, this looks like a hot mess right now. Thinner coats for the win. We ended up adding a lot more thinner and it just made it a much nicer consistency to work with and less bumps. So this is all pretty smooth, to be honest. So there's kind of bits here. So all of these bits like bumps and any dribbles, they'll all be sanded. The one round of degreasing worked out perfectly fine, and we were able to go ahead and do the second coat of primer, as you can see here. This was followed by another sand. And another round of degreasing. The day has finally arrived. It's step 4, painting. Are you ready for the grand reveal? Are you nervous?
In case it's not actually green.
Oh, you've just spoiled it now. Just to quickly mention, the paint is from Trades for Paints. Warren. Oh my goodness.
It's definitely green.
Oh my goodness. That's a lot greener than I thought.
Looks like pea soup.
We're committed. Anyway, okay, let's go. We ran out of all the measuring tools, so we've resorted to using these gym bottles because they've got measurements on the side.
Because
so
they rarely get used these days.
yeah, we ain't got time to gym. So yeah, because basically we need to put 10% of thinner with the paint. First coat of paint is going on. The paint was actually a lot nicer to work with than the primer, just in terms of like the consistency and how it applied. We actually tried a different tact for the paint, which in hindsight, I wish I would have done with the primer. So any areas that needed to be done with the paintbrush, I went in with the paintbrush and did those areas first. Warren then came straight behind with the roller and was able to try and blend some of those paintbrush marks out. We wish we would have known this for the primer stage, as those brush application areas would have been so much nicer.
The painting saga continues.
Thanks to the British weather, everything had been put on hold for a week because of a week solid of rain. This is Warren, he is sanding the van, and then we are then going in with, you guessed it, degreasing. So just prepping basically for the second coat of paint. Painting done, and it is just time to remove the masking tape. The masking tape, as predicted, did do us a bit dirty. It has got left some marks. There are little white areas, but nothing that can't be fixed just with a little wipe over and a little go through with a really fine paintbrush. And in fairness to the masking tape, at this point it had been on for about 3 weeks, so all in all, pretty good. So here we have it, the finished result. We are super happy with the colour, the finish. We went for the satin finish, and yeah, we think it looks great. Please let us know in the comments what you think and if you are going to be painting your van. My top tip is the roller is your friend.